This is the iQoo 13, one of the world's first phones to have the brand new Snapdragon 8 Elite chip from Qualcomm, which instantly makes it one of the world's most powerful smartphones at the time of this video. So here's what I'm going to do. We'll run through the design, the specs of this absolute monster of a smartphone. Later on, it will get really interesting because I will benchmark the iQoo 13 Snapdragon 8 Elite 3nm chip against two of the best and most popular and most powerful smartphones released in 2024, the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra and the iPhone 16 Pro Max. So this should help you get a good idea of how powerful and how efficient things have gotten going into 2025. So buckle up, speed demons, because things are about to get interesting. So there are quite a few interesting design aspects and hardware choices iQoo has made here that I think will impress you. Let's start with the display. So 120Hz is kind of becoming old these days. You even see 120Hz panels on budget smartphones, for example. So of course the iQoo 13 is no budget smartphone, and it has a fully fledged flagship and flat Q10 2K 144Hz LTPO 8T AMOLED display. And because it's LTPO, this does mean it can adjust from 1 Hz all the way up to the full 144 Hz as and when is needed. And the pixels per inch is incredible at 510, and this 6.82 inch display has the thinnest bezels ever seen on an iQoo phone to date. And it looks good. And do you know what else looks good? 4,500 nits of peak brightness. That's an insane amount when compared to the iPhone's 2,000 nits and the 2,600 nits on the Galaxy S24 Ultra. And something interesting about this display is the screen has been circulatory polarized for eye comfort, and it's been awarded various TÜV Rheinland certificates, so you don't have to worry about burning the TikTok watermark into your retinas. And I mentioned Q10 when introducing the display, and this actually is in reference to the layer on top of the actual AMOLED. And here are some of the improvements that iQoo's Q10 light emitting material brings to the table. The colors are also fantastic, and of course the contrast is top tier, as you would expect from any AMOLED, with a contrast ratio of 8 million to 1, which is around the same odds of me ever hitting 1 million subs here on the channel.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
There are two color options available. The alpha color is a darker gray that uses a glass fiber back panel. And then there's this one, the Nardo gray, with a full glass back panel, which has been named after the Nardo Ring racetrack in Italy. And this is probably because iQoo is a premium partner of BMW M Motorsports, and some of the phone's design shares that design DNA. And here's a couple of interesting facts for you. Do you know what iQoo stands for? Well, I actually didn't know until now. It stands for I quest on and on, which reminds me of my attitude towards Call of Duty Warzone. No matter how many times I get beaten, I just keep questing on and on. Now check this out, the little BMW Motorsport symbol is actually iQoo's own version of it, and each one of the colors here holds a meaning. Anyway, the frame of the phone is fully aluminium. All the edges are flat, it has stereo speakers, a sonic fingerprint scanner under the display, which is much better than an optical scanner, and a selfie punch hole camera also in the display. And is sealed up to meet IP68 and 69 ingress protection ratings, so you'll have no problem if you get caught in the rain. But you have every right to be pissed off if this happens. And it does have a dual 5G SIM tray, but sadly, no expandable SD memory card slot. But the memory options are good here. You can get the iQoo 13 in either a 256 gig or a 512 gig model, combined with either 12 or 16 gig of DDR5X RAM. And both versions that I just mentioned are the latest and fastest versions. Now this might blow your mind. The battery size on this phone is over 6,000 milliampere, which is hard to believe because the phone isn't excessively heavy at 219 grams and it doesn't feel bulky. And actually the alpha color with the fiberglass back is even lighter. And this is because iQoo are using 3rd gen silicon carbon anode tech, which allows the battery to remain slim whilst housing more power, and speed of power delivery is also top tier here on the iQoo 13 at 120 watts. And get this, the charger is in the box. And Apple fans will be like, no, that's not true. That's impossible! and Samsung and Pixel fans, to be fair. Now I will come back to the camera module design and camera hardware because there's more than meets the eye to be seen here. But first, let's focus on the speed and power. So before we do the benchmarks, you need to know a few things. The iQoo 13 is the first phone with an over 4 GHz clock speed. Its peak clock speed is actually 4.32 GHz, which is incredibly fast. The CPU performance from the Snapdragon 8 Elite is up 45%, and the power efficiency is also up 44% compared to the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 used on the Galaxy S24 Ultra. And if that wasn't enough already, iQoo has taken it one step further with their own supercomputing Q2 chip. And to put this simply, the iQoo Q2's sole purpose is to drive consistently high refresh rates without consuming too much power. So let's see how this plays out. Okay, so here are the results of the 20-minute wildlife extreme stress test, and there's some interesting results here. So coming in last place with the best loop score of 4,743 is the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Second place, Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, 4,904, so a little bit better than the iPhone. But the iQoo 13 is significantly better than both, with a best loop score of 6,885. That's a big jump. And when you look at the graph, you'll notice it's always the first couple of loops where it's performing the best. Now, where it gets interesting is the stability on the devices. So the winner in this area, going by the numbers here, is the iPhone. So 67.3% stability. And what we're actually seeing here is the first two loops performs at its peak, then it drops off and plateaus all the way across with a score of just over 3,000, pretty much all the way until the end of the test. So the cooling system in the iPhone allows it to maintain that pace all the way through. Now with the Galaxy S24 Ultra, we see a pretty high score for the first 2 or 3 tests, and then it starts to slope off all the way to the end, and it plateaus off at around 2,500 towards the last loop in the test. But here's where it gets really interesting. Even though the stability score is 49% and 48% compared to the 67 on the iPhone, the iQoo is still better because if you look at this graph, it peaks much higher than both the other phones, and then it kind of drops off around the third loop, and then it plateaus here for a long time at over 4,000, which is significantly better than where the iPhone plateaus at. And it's only during the last 3 loops of the test that it starts to slow down to just over 3,000, which is where this phone is pretty much through the whole test. And the reason the stability score is lower is because of the difference between the peak speed and then the slowest speed, which is, if we look at it, we can actually see what the slowest was. It was 3,401 at the end, which as you can see is much faster than where the iPhone ranged towards the end of the test. So the battery drop off is something I want to focus on here. So on the Galaxy S24 Ultra, it went from 100% battery down to 91. So we lost 9%. On the iPhone, the battery ranged from 100% down to 90%. So we lost 10%. But check this out, the iQoo with the brand new Snapdragon 8 Elite and the Q2 chip from iQoo only used 5%, half the amount of the iPhone during the same test in the same amount of time. And it ran much faster than the iPhone throughout. And then also here you see the frames per second. So the Galaxy S24 ranged from 10 frames per second to 34 at its peak. The iPhone went from 11 frames to 36 frames at its peak. And then the iQoo went from 14 to 50 frames per second. So this was not only running more power efficient with better loop scores throughout, but it was also doing it with more frames per second. So this is absolutely a unanimous win for the iQoo 13 in the 3D Mark bench test. So immediately after running the benchmarks, I did a quick thermal reading on the iQoo 13 because I wanted to see how the iQoo 7K Ultra VC cooling system handled the heat. So this is how the heat dissipation looks, and just know if a phone can stay below 41 degrees, then it can typically perform pretty well. So the cooling system is definitely an area you don't want to overlook, especially if you're looking for a high performance phone. So iQoo's focus here is on performance and power, and you certainly get that here. The software is Vivo's FunTouch OS 15 running on Android 15, and you get all the typical Android 15 settings and features that you'll be familiar with if you've used any other Android phone. And of course, there's a bunch of fun TouchOS customization tweaks for animations, icons, wallpapers, and there's even a bunch of stuff you don't see on other Android phones, so that's nice. However, there aren't any exclusive on-device AI features other than the sort of magic eraser which Apple have only just got, but there's nothing stopping you installing Google Gemini and other AI apps for writing and art and things like that. And on the topic of apps, when you set this phone up for the first time, you might have to spend a bit of time uninstalling some unnecessary apps and app recommendation folders if they bother you. But apart from that, it's a pretty slick operating system, and the iQoo 13 will literally slice through pretty much anything you can throw at it, and it truly excels when it comes to gaming thanks to the monster mode, which you can enable at any time even when you're not gaming. And when you are gaming, you can actually use the built-in game tools to enhance the frame rates even if the games don't support higher refresh rates, and you can even enhance the graphics. Now remember how I said I'd return to the camera module? Well, check this out. This camera design is what iQoo calls the Monster Halo, and not just because of the monster camera hardware that it houses. What you can't see at first glance is beneath the glass and under the black surface that houses the camera modules is a customizable RGB ring. There are 72 different lighting options that you can use here, and these can be utilized for incoming calls and notifications, and different apps can actually be set up with different colors, and there's an atmospheric light mode for when you just want to show off. And yes, this will use more power, but remember the iQoo 13 has around 1000 milliampere more battery life than most flagship smartphones out there in 2024. Now listen, I can't wrap this up without talking about the camera hardware itself. Vivo, the parent company of iQoo, are no strangers to flagship camera performance, and they've certainly put the effort in here. The iQoo 13 has 4 cameras, a 32 megapixel sensor with f2.45 equivalent aperture for the selfie camera, and the performance is very good. On the back you get 2 Sony sensors, the 50 megapixel IMX921 VCS True Color for the primary camera, and the aperture here is f1.88. The focal length equivalent is 23mm. And then there's the very impressive 50 megapixel IMX816 telephoto, which can range from 2x all the way up to 10x. And the ultra wide on the iQoo 13 is also 50 megapixels, but this one's a JN1 sensor from Samsung, and it also performs well. So let me know in the comments if you want to see a camera comparison with the iQoo 13 and what phones you'd like to see it against. But one thing I will say about making a video like that is the iQoo range of phones is all about speed and power, and more geared towards gaming and heavy processing. And it's really Vivo's flagships like the X200 and X200 Pro that really focus on camera performance. And word on the street is I will be getting one of those soon, so do let me know if you want to see any camera focused videos with that phone, and let me know if you want to see any more follow-up content on the iQoo 13, or if you have any questions. And I appreciate you guys for watching this one. If you got any value out of it, a little thumbs up would be appreciated. If you just subscribed, you're now one of the finest subscribers known to man, and I will see you guys in the next one. Don't be late.